What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Parlay Prince podcast. Today, we are going to go over the NFL Divisional round this weekend, give you some plays. I'm going to be joined by my good friend, Alan McDonald, and we're going to go over every single game, talk about last week, and hopefully make you guys some cash. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It would really mean a lot, so we can keep pumping out more content to more people. As always, thank you for the support. Let's get into the video. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Parlay Prince podcast. I'm here with Alan McDonald. Alan, thank you for joining me. We're going to go over the divisional round this week. We're going to talk about last week, the super wild card, and give out a few plays here, hopefully make you guys some money.
Excellent. Pleasure to be here on the podcast with you, Mike. Appreciate you having me.
So, Alan, last week there was a few good games, but mostly just blowouts.
Yeah.
What caught your eye? What really did you see last week?
Me personally, that Bills-Patriots game, it was another cold win up there in Buffalo. I personally thought the Patriots defense, Belichick was going to have something scripted, something up his sleeve for them. And boy, was I wrong. It was a 47-17 blowout up there in Buffalo. Rightfully so. Josh Allen putting up 5 touchdowns again. You can't go wrong with Buffalo right now. They're looking like a hot team, the team to beat right now in the AFC between them and the Kansas City Chiefs. But hey, I was very surprised by, the outcome of that game for sure.
Yeah, no, I actually bet on New England. I didn't bet a really big amount. I also bet on the under. So lost on both of them. But I thought that Buffalo, they looked good. They played great. Now, I question New England, though. I'm going to give Buffalo the credit. They should have won the game, and boy, did they win it. But New England was slipping a lot, and that was a misread on my part. I really thought, New England was going to compete in the game. But you could see the signs as the season went on. They didn't look the same ever since that Monday night game against Buffalo. And actually I had a conversation with my cousin last week, and he said, shout out to Ryan, that, when you get to the postseason, you can pretty much tell, get a good read on what a team is. I'm an Eagles fan. We went out there and we got our doors kicked in against Tampa Bay, but that should be expected. And you'll hear from people big diehard Eagle fans, delusional, will say, you guys got killed. We got killed. Jalen Hurts isn't the answer. Look, everything happened on Sunday that is supposed to happen. When you get to the postseason, that's what's supposed to happen. And especially now that they extended the seeding, and now you have a 7 seed get in, 1 extra game. These games haven't been competitive since they brought them in. Now 4 games, and none of them have been competitive. So, I think Buffalo obviously really stuck out to me, but also I was very impressed with Cincinnati. I thought that took a lot of character in that game, because this is a team that hasn't won 31 years in the postseason. And Joe Burrow, he did what he had to do, got the win. It wasn't pretty, but they found a way. So I was impressed with Cincinnati. Now they got over that
hats
hump.
off to Cincy there. Yeah, they did their thing last week for sure.
Now that they got over that hump, now it's go time. Now they got that 1 win. Same thing with Matthew Stafford and the Rams. Now you got the win. Now you're ready to go. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, I know Cincinnati, them haven't got a playoff victory in, you said, 31 years with, Joe Burrow, second-year quarterback. You got a rookie receiver like Jamar Chase. They got a prolific offense. And now it's okay, like you said, now we're over that hump. Now we're setting the new standard here in Cincinnati. We're here to win football games. We're here to make a statement here in the AFC.
Yeah.
I think the Bengals did that last week. I know it did come down to the wire right there at the end on a fourth down attempt there by Derek Carr and the Raiders. But, they, like I said, they got it done. Hats off to them, and we'll see what they do next week.
Yeah, and I think this is a matchup that favors them going against Tennessee.
I do too.
I like what Cincinnati's doing. I like that they get Jamar Chase kind of like in a Debo Samuel way a little bit, getting
Of
him
course.
running around. And who knows? Maybe that's, this is a copycat league. Maybe, Debo Samuel really is revolutionized it because it works. I mean, when you're sending a guy out, he's split out wide, and then you get him in motion, throw that little pitch. It's all about getting athletic dudes the ball. Jamar Chase is one of the most athletic, if not the most athletic guy in the NFL. So I like what I see out of Cincinnati. The Rams was a good win, but it's almost like the Bills game. I question where Arizona and New England were at the time. Arizona, they started off hot, but, and people going into this game and going into the playoffs, Arizona's elite. Arizona's elite. No, let's pump the brakes on them, because this is now 2 years in a row that Kyler and Cliff Kingsbury have both just faded in December. They get off to these hot starts, but can't finish. And I don't know what to think about the Rams in Buffalo, because I think they played two teams that, I don't know, weren't playing good football and kind of just gave up, and
Exactly.
the Eagles got blown out, but at least, they made it a game a little bit. These New England, although Mac Jones was playing hard at the end, but still, like, New England and Arizona, both, it was like, oh, well, just go down, score, no problem. Weren't even moving the ball. But
I thought the Rams were definitely the more physical team there in the game. I thought they were, Aaron Donald and boys up front. They came ready to play. They came ready to dominate. And back to you and Kyler and Cliff. I mean, I don't know what their pregame plans were headed into the week for that game, but whatever that was, they should have just threw that away, because Kyler, he looked flustered. He looked like he's never been in that position before, and hopefully they'll get it better next year. But as far as that game against the Rams, I mean, you're in your own end zone holding on to the ball for way too long, and then you see somebody coming through, and your first decision is to just throw the ball wherever, and led it to a pick six right there. I mean, that's just a morale killer right there, momentum for the Rams. From that moment on, I felt like, the game was over.
Yeah, and another interesting thing was 5 of the 6 favorites covered last week, and I think that's an interesting stat, because it also shows that the top teams, there's a gap. I mean, and I really think that, I truly believe that going into this playoff, that's what it was going to be, that the top teams were going to take care of business. And we'll get into our picks later, but still, I can't see in the NFC the top 2 seeds going down. I just don't see it. And then in the AFC, I mean, you're kidding yourself if you don't think that this matchup, Buffalo and KC, wouldn't happen next week if the seeding's lined up that way.
Yep.
But I think it's pretty clear who the 4 best teams in the league are.
Most definitely.
I think it's pretty clear. You got Buffalo, Kansas City, Green Bay, and Tampa Bay.
Yep.
And you'll have the Rams in this, but how can you really trust Matthew Stafford? And how can you really trust him? Tennessee, it all comes down to Henry. I don't know if you have any reports on if he's playing or not, but
Mike Vrabel did indicate that he's been practicing. He does look like he's moving pretty well, but he hasn't done any practice with contact at this point. So it's kind of hard to say where his foot is. I mean, he did break his foot in week 8. So, I mean, that is a pretty fast recovery to throw him out there. And this is playoff football. It's cold, it's intense, it's physical, it's high, high volume every snap. So it's hard to see where Derrick Henry could come into play here, but that is their identity of that team. You ground and pound, you're going to take that once the running game is taken off. Tannehill is able to develop a play action there with A.J. Brown. I think A.J. Brown's definitely going to be the X factor in that game, whether or not he can get the ball downfield. If Derrick Henry's not able to play, or at least 100%, I don't see Tennessee doing much this weekend for sure.
So we'll segue, since we're on the topic. We'll just segue into the picks, and we'll start with Cincinnati, Tennessee, going off at 4:30 on Saturday. Tennessee is a 3-point favorite. And Alan, I'd love to get your take on it. For me personally, I think that if you look at a team like Tennessee and Vegas puts out a line like -3, you're betting on them because Derrick Henry's playing. If Derrick Henry isn't playing, I think that could possibly jump to Cincinnati being the favorite.
Of course.
I wouldn't touch this game until I know what's going on with
up to game time. Even with the line at -3, I'm taking Bengals +3 for the fact that I think their offense is just prolific. You got Joe Mixon. I mean, that's a top 5 running back in the NFL this year. He gets the job done week in and week out. Not only do you have a nice, strong running game, you have Jamar Chase, 1,455 receiving yards this year, broke Chad Ochocinco's single season receiving yards record for the Bengals. You got Tyler Boyd, electric. I mean, that offense there's so many weapons there that it's kind of hard. T. Higgins. I mean, it's kind of hard for a team like the Tennessee Titans to really keep up with that, especially if they are going into the game without Derrick Henry. Now, Derrick Henry, that's where you can control the game. You can run the ball. You can go through run the ball, run the clock, control the aspect of the game. But without him, I really see Cincinnati taking off with this one.
Yeah, so I got some of the lines up with over under right now is 47.5. I tend to like the under in this one. I just don't see how Tennessee is going to. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I agree with what you said. I do like Cincinnati. I do. They're pretty even, both records against the spread. And it's just tough for me because I want to take, I'll say it like this. If King Henry's playing, I'm taking Tennessee. I'm taking them because I think they can run the ball, control the game, and do that thing. But if he's not playing, I'm taking Cincinnati outright, solely off the basis that I just don't trust Ryan Tannehill enough. And now Mike Vrabel, I don't know how he does it, but every year they seem to be able to win playoff games. Every single year, Tennessee is finding ways to win playoff games.
They play discipline. They play disciplined football. All 3 aspects of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. Vrabel, he does a real great job preparing his team week in and week out. They're never looking for the next week. They're playing for the game ahead. And truly, that's what it takes to win in the NFL. And I think, hats off to him for that.
Yeah. And I will say that Tennessee, they very much under the radar. I mean, we looked up a week before the postseason. We're like, holy shit, they're going to get the number 1 seed.
Number 1 seed. Nobody saw that coming.
They're going to get the bye, and the bye helps because guess what? One last game that you have to play without Derrick Henry, you're going to take it. If they can win this game, get Henry back for next week, I mean, it's, who knows? Because the thing is, I've seen them win playoff games, but with Derrick Henry, and they do a certain thing. And this year, I can think back to a game against the Steelers where they clearly lost the game just because they didn't have him, weren't able to get anything going. And Cincinnati's defense has been better. Against the high prolific offenses, they struggle, but Tennessee without Henry is not very prolific. They're going to run the play action. They're going to run the ball. It's going to be a 20-17 type game. And if they don't have Henry, they got to use the blueprint that they won against when they beat San Francisco on that Thursday night game, and they came from behind. That's the blueprint they need to use. But if I was picking something, as of right now, granted, Henry plays, I'm going with Tennessee. But check Twitter because I might change my mind if.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. So you got Tennessee. I got Cincy in this one.
Yes, sir. Next up, we got San Francisco and Green Bay. I'm going to start with this one. Right now I got a futures in of Green Bay winning the NFC, and I also have a futures of them winning the Super Bowl. I think this is a year that they really can win. Bakhtiari, or I'm sorry if I pronounce his name wrong, but he's back.
They do have him back this week, yeah.
And that's going to help.
Zadarius Smith coming back for them. You got Jair Alexander. He's, he cleared IR last week, so that's a big pickup for their defense as well.
So OddsShark right now is projecting them to win. They're thinking San Francisco is going to cover and the total will push. I personally like the under of 47. I think that's a pretty good number, I would say. I would take the under. Who knows what you're going to get in Lambeau. If
Yeah,
Jimmy
it's
G's
that
not
time of year.
playing,
You don't know
yeah,
what type of weather to expect down there in Lambeau.
yeah.
And it's a night game too. I feel like Rodgers and the Packers, they come to play in those primetime situations. So that will be an interesting game to see right there.
Most definitely. I'm checking the weather here real quick, but the thing is,
Okay.
I like Green Bay this year. Now, last year, you can say, they lost to the Bucs, this and that. I think that was an anomaly. Tom Brady threw 3 interceptions in that game and they lost. And every year you just see it with Green Bay. The year that they lost against the Cardinals, Rodgers throws that Hail Mary. It's like Aaron Rodgers has to be one of the most snake bitten quarterbacks in the history of the league, because it's like every single year, and people will say, oh, he chokes this and that. But I mean, the type of talent that he has, and his postseason numbers aren't bad, although losing to the 49ers 0-3.
I would say they've been eliminated in the playoffs 3 times since 2012 to the 49ers. And that doesn't speak too well on the Packers at all. So
yes. Now, I believe at least 2 of those were in San Francisco. So I will say
now
this.
Now we're going to flip the script here.
But I think at home, Jimmy G's banged up. 5.5 is a good
Bosa's
number.
coming off of a concussion. They don't know. He's kind of questionable right now. They don't know if he's going to clear concussion protocol. So it's kind of interesting to see that. Fred Warner as well. Yeah.
I like Green Bay in this spot. I like them minus 5.5. I think, people are buying into San Francisco way too much. Now, I personally think whoever wins this game is going to win the Super Bowl. Call me a hot take. I said this about week 10. I really like the 49ers because they pose a threat. They run the ball. They play postseason defense. Postseason, that's the way they play. Like, it fits the postseason. Kind of like the Titans did in the last few years. I think Tennessee and San Francisco are the same type of team. They're not going to wow you with stuff. Jimmy G's not going to wow you, but he can get the job done. But I like Green Bay in the spot 100%. Minus 5.5. Take the play. I would lean the under. Rodgers at home, night game at Lambeau, under a touchdown. You got to take it. I mean, it could lose, but you have to take it.
I like it. I'm with you on that one. I'm taking Green Bay. I'm take them to cover as long as their run defense comes to play. They're averaging 4.6 yards a carry. That's 22nd in the league right now. 49ers, they dominate the run game. Last week against the Cowboys, Elijah Mitchell, he had 96 yards against the Cowboys. Deebo Samuel as a receiver came in, running the ball, had 73 yards. He calls himself the wide back now. I think he created a new position with that. So, but 49ers, they keep defenses honest with themselves because they've got so much going on. They can throw the ball, they can run the ball. Like you said, you got Deebo Samuel coming in motion. They don't know. They keep people on their heels, and it's going to be a great game. I think the weather, home field advantage, I think all that's going to play a factor in this game, and I like Green Bay as well to cover.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I want to see, call me, selfish, but if I'm not getting Green Bay,
you want that future,
but also I want Green Bay. I'm selfish. I don't want to see the 49ers in LA make it. I want to see Rodgers, Brady. I don't, you know what I mean? I
think the world wants to see that right now. I'm a Brady fan. I want to see Brady. I want to see Rodgers. I want to see them in the NFC Championship. That way, silence the critics again. Yeah. Once again, I mean, Rodgers 1-4 in the NFC Championship. I want to see that again. I want to see that. So as a Brady fan, we can tell those Rodgers fans, just pipe down a little bit, show some respect.
I'm one of those Rodgers fans. Absolutely love the guy.
Yes, sir.
I think he's.
We might have to watch the game together then.
Yes, sir. I just think Aaron Rodgers is the type of guy that the way he throws the ball. I mean, it comes down to, Tom Brady's the greatest champion in the history of sports. But there's just something about Aaron Rodgers and his fundamentals of throwing a football that it's and you see it with Patty Mahomes too, but the type of precision that he has on his balls, I just don't think it's even comparable.
Yeah, Rodgers, his IQ's there. His mental preparation's there, week in and week out. He doesn't force a lot. That goes to show his high touchdown to low interception ratio his entire career. He just doesn't force plays. If it's not there, gonna get rid of the ball.
Yeah.
Other than that, Rodgers does come to play, but he is 1-4 in NFC Championship.
Yeah, so most definitely. There's no excuses this year. There's no excuses. Yep. They got the team. Now the defense, I like the defense. I think they come up with plays, and that's another thing. Like, I love the Rams defense. I like what they do, but outside of that pick six, like this and that, like I question making plays a lot. And I know Jalen Ramsey can make plays, but like, you know what I mean? Like the Packers all year, they've, Rasul Douglas, like, he's not gonna make the NFL top 100, but guess what? The guy he's in the right spot, the right time. So that should be interesting. But segueing over to the other NFC divisional game, Los Angeles at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is projected to win via Odd Sharks cover, and the total will go under. Alan, take it away on this one. I know you're a season ticket holder.
Yeah, season ticket holder, Tampa. Shout out to the Bucks crew member here, live and direct for you. I actually had the great opportunity being there last week against the Eagles. Hey, we were up 31-0 going into the fourth quarter there. It was a great game, great show out. Fans were electric. Now going into this week, hey, we played them week 3, lost 34-24 back in LA. I think the X factor right here for this game, I know we do have a few linemen banged up. Hopefully they're all healthy to go this week. Jalen Ramsey, Mike Evans. That's the matchup we're all looking for. I'm looking forward to see. Now with Chris Godwin out, Antonio Brown with his own personal exit off the team, it's now Mike Evans and Gronk. So I, as a football person, I feel like, I know Jalen Ramsey doesn't travel often, but I feel like he will travel with Mike Evans this week. And if that does indeed happen, look for Brady to get everyone else involved. We got Cyril Grayson coming back this week. Gronk over the middle is going to be huge. I don't think the Rams linebackers are really all that in the pass coverage. So look for a lot of play actions to Gronk. Look for him over the middle a lot this week. I personally think the Bucks are going to cover. Brady, they left Brady with a sour taste in his mouth after that week 3 loss. So just know that Brady's going to prepare the team. He's making those own mental preparations. He's going to overcome what he did in week 3. And now, hey, it's a whole different crowd. This is playoff football. Like you said, Matt Stafford, that was your first win last week. Brady, I couldn't even count how many wins he's had in the postseason. So it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, there we go. 35. Yeah. Actually, I just saw that statistic today. 35 career playoff wins, same as Brady. Same amount as the Cowboys have an entire franchise. That's crazy, right?
Sounds good to me. I can't predict the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, sir.
But I'm going to agree with you here. I'm laying the number with Tampa Bay. LA's a public dog. But I think this is where, when it comes to the sports world, and sometimes you want to be a consultant to some people that are just willing to throw their money out the way. Kind of like what I'm seeing the next game too. Don't oversimplify it. Don't overthink it here for a second. LA +3 is not the play. It's Tom Brady at home in an NFC divisional game against Matthew Stafford. They lost to him before. Both teams are pretty mediocre against the spread. I like Tampa Bay in this game. I like them. I like them to win by like 7 points. I think it's going to be back and forth. I like the over. The over at 48 is too low for
Brady's won his last 9 divisional playoff matchups, so I don't think he's looking to let that into this weekend. So we'll see about that.
Yeah, no, I like what LA's been doing. I like what they did last week. They played well, but for me, it's Tampa at home. They've lost 1 game all year at home, and it was to the Saints. That doesn't count. That's a divisional game. Now, I like to say that divisional games, they don't really matter. Throw the records out the window. You're going to get the best fight. LA is a very good team, but, there's levels, and there's levels to this. And me personally, they've played 3 games. I think they're the best. They're the 4th best team in the conference. All right. They are 1-3 against the teams that are better than them. They beat Tampa Bay early in the season. They got embarrassed to San Francisco on Monday Night Football. They lost to them week 17, and they went to Green Bay, and I believe they lost by 8, but at the same time, they lost by 8 points, but that game was 15. They gave up a touchdown at the end. Yep. Rodgers was able to have his way and scored at will.
Yep. So, I think main focus for the Bucs this week, they do have one of the top run defenses in the entire NFL. So, you got Sony Michel, you got Cam Akers back this week. I think they'll have a decent job being able to contain them. It's all going to come down to the strong arm of Stafford, and then you got the prolific receivers like Cooper Kupp. I mean, had a season of a lifetime this year, so definitely need to watch out for Cooper. You got Odell Beckham, who's had 9 touchdowns in the last 6 games as a LA Ram. He wasn't a part of the team back in week 3 whenever the Bucs lost to, so that's going to be someone to look out for as well. I don't know if you remember in that week 3 matchup after right out of halftime, that third quarter, that first minute, they threw a 75-yard touchdown to Deshaun Jackson, and that kind of opened the doors for them. A lot of momentum coming out of half. But Deshaun Jackson no longer a member of the LA Rams, so they don't really have that over-the-top speed. They have excellent possession receivers, route runners, in Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham Jr. But as long as the Bucs defense can not let up the big plays, keep everything in front of them, control the run game, and put the game through Matt Stafford, I think the Bucs have that for sure.
Yeah, on one closing point on that game, there's 3 games that I love this week, and then the first one, the Tennessee Bengals, I think that could go either way. Yeah. With Tampa Bay, I'm taking them. I'm not I'm not overthinking it. I'm taking Tampa Bay because at the end of the day, if I lose the bet, oh well. I'm riding with – it's the same thing with the Packers, all right, this weekend. If I take a -5.5 and I lose, oh well. I took Aaron Rodgers at home in Lambeau against a hobbled Jimmy G. I'm going to do the same thing with Brady, and I think they win the game by 7 points, like 31-24.
You heard it here. You heard it here first, folks. Go ahead and slam it now. Bucs -3.
Kansas City Chiefs at home against the Bills. And you know what? I got to say, Buffalo coming off that big game. This is the type where a lot of people, the Bills are getting hyped up. They're getting hyped up. Enough with that. I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm not overthinking it again. I think it's Sean McDermott versus his old teacher. He's a student of Andy Reid. Andy Reid isn't losing twice at home to him in the same season. -2. I mean, that the Chiefs at Arrowhead, and they're 2-point favorites. Public is on Buffalo, and you're starting to get that sense of like, oh damn, like, Buffalo's going to do this. That's usually when that's usually when the favorite in the NFL ends up winning. I like Buffalo, but you look at them over the last how many years, what they do. I mean, it's all fine and dandy. They win at home, but I don't think I've been saying this. I don't think Buffalo makes a Super Bowl until they get the 1 seed and it runs through Buffalo. This is the biggest game of Josh Allen's career. He signed that huge contract, and you're getting paid close to Patty Mahomes money. This is your chance to prove it, because, he won the last game. He won. Well, people will remember the Chiefs were struggling. There was a storm that was like 2 hours long. The game didn't even resume until like midnight. I don't trust Buffalo. If they win, I'll start to trust them a little bit. I don't trust them right now. I'm taking Kansas City -2, and I'm taking the under 54. That's too high for a postseason game. All
right, so Mike's got -2 in the under.
Yeah.
I got Buffalo +2, and I got the over, Mike.
Oh,
We're gonna have well, it's gonna be a good week in playoff football here for us, Mike. I don't know though. The Bills, it was a week 5 matchup. They won 38-20. Josh Allen put up 315 yards and 3 touchdowns with the air, ran for another 59 yards and 2 touchdowns with his legs. I know both teams, everybody knows how great, how high-powered, how prolific these offenses are. But I think the key to this game, what it's going to come down to, is defense. And honestly, if you look at Buffalo has like the number 1 defense, if not top 3 defense in the NFL this year. The Chiefs, not so much. The Chiefs, they're lacking an identity on defense. Teams have, they did go on they finished 9-1 to end the season. Yeah, kudos to them for that. Yep, they started this season off terrible. Then they really got themselves together. I guess decided to find their true identity, go back to that old Kansas City football, and put everything through Mahomes, and just be able to develop that character throughout the season. But I think this season, this game is actually really going to come down to defense, and I like Buffalo's defense here, even on the road. I know Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium is a very tough place to play, especially in the playoffs. We already know the Chiefs are going to put up points. We know Buffalo's going to put up points. It's going to come down to this defensive play. And I honestly think the Buffalo's defense outweighs Kansas City's defense here. Look for Buffalo's defense to make a few more plays. Pat Mahomes, when he gets a little frantic, yes, he can throw a beautiful no-look pass. Yeah, right. But sometimes that's not the move to make. And we talked about that earlier with Rodgers. Rodgers makes the best decisions possible. Mahomes, he does like to make those flashy plays, tries to extend the play sometimes. Sometimes that's not the right decision. Brett Favre used to do that, but a lot of people hung Brett Favre out to dry. Brett Favre had a great career, but he doesn't have too much to show for it. Pat Mahomes this week, just make the simple plays, do what you need to do. Yeah. Find Tyreek Hill, find Travis Kelce, let your weapons do the work for you, and take it from there.
Yeah, no, I think these games this week are going to be very good. Now, I will say this, though. The Kansas City-Buffalo game, I don't see this game being close. I think it's going to be either one direction because the last 2 times these 2 teams have played, it's been a blowout in either direction. I just see that now. I think Buffalo's got like something like 10 wins this season, that when they win, they win by double digits. Yeah. So, and
I don't know if you remember the infamous video last year of the AFC Championship. Stephon Diggs, staying on the field after that and just letting that soak in. Yeah. Look for Diggs to go out there and really prove a point this week. Get that sour taste out of his mouth and put that against the Kansas City Chiefs defense for sure.
See, I thought that, but the thing is, I think their like revenge game per se was earlier this season, and coming into this season, it was the Bills and the Chiefs. And here we are again. I argue the winner of this game, I think, is going to be in the Super Bowl. But at the same time, Buffalo just has not proven yet that they can go on the road and win that game. And Josh Allen 3 years ago or 2 years ago, 2019, COVID gets it all messed up. When he went to the Texans and he didn't have a good game, they lost, and the Texans went on to the AFC Championship game that year. And then last year, AFC Championship game, I actually had Buffalo. I thought Buffalo was going to do it this year, and they didn't. I actually did a future Super Bowl matchup, and I think it was like $10 to win like 250 on Green Bay and Buffalo. Well, didn't hit because both of them lost in the in the championship games.
Yep.
But yeah, I like Kansas City. Now I know I picked all the favorites on here. One of them's gonna lose. I just hope it's not Green Bay. Yep. I want to see Rodgers, Brady again, packed Lambeau. And this is we're just getting the AFC Championship game a little early because I don't see either one of these teams losing to.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. Whoever wins this game, I do see them going to the Super Bowl in the AFC.
Now, maybe you could make the argument that if Tennessee wins, they have a shot at home. But do you really think that Kansas City, like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen's going to lose to Ryan Tannehill for the second time? Both of these teams got lost to the Titans. One was a close game. The other one was an embarrassment. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting this weekend. Wrapping up.
My fault, Mike. I think the X factor here, though, for the Chiefs, if they do want to win this game, is going to come up to that defensive line of theirs. They're going to have to get to the quarterback. They're going to have to force Josh Allen to make some decisions that he's not ready to make. I think they need to contain him, not let him get out of the pocket and extend plays with his feet. If you look at any games in the past, Josh Allen, he's a dual threat quarterback. Yes, he has a strong arm, but don't overlook his running ability as well. So if the Chiefs really want to get out of this game and head on to the championship week, definitely get some pressure on Allen, contain him, and don't let him extend any plays with his feet for sure.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Real quick here, I just wanted to get your take on who do you think, what is the Super Bowl matchup? Who do you think is going to win? And why?
All right. If I had to put my money on it, I'm going with a Tampa Bay, Kansas City rematch. I think just straight off of experience and who wants to really be in this game. Tampa, you got, leading by Tom Brady. I mean, no one's been in the Super Bowl as many times as this man here. So, no, that's a familiar face in that Super Bowl. But at Kansas City, I'm agreeing with you. I know I did say Buffalo plus 2 this week, but they still can't lose.
Split?
I think so. Yes, sir.
You think buy the half point and get it down to 3?
Please do.
Yeah, that could happen. So you threw in the curveball.
I did.
You threw in the curveball. I mean, that doesn't happen often, but I could, hey, it could happen. I mean, like I said, I definitely think Kansas City's going to win. I think it's Kansas City and Green Bay. I think
that's your Super Bowl matchup this year.
That was that's what I think is going to happen. Now, my preseason pick was Green Bay and Los Angeles Chargers. I had 4 teams that I thought were going to make it. Now, going back to last year's draft, I thought it was either going to be San Francisco, Green Bay, or LA and the Chiefs. The Chargers totally screwed up.
They fumbled the bag this year for sure.
Wheels fell off.
Yep.
And it's going to be interesting. I think really there's 4 teams that can win. These 2 teams and the Bucs and the Packers. I think they're the only 4 teams that can truly win this game. I do like San Francisco, and I said that they can win, but I don't think they're getting past Green Bay. And if they beat Green Bay, I think there's a good shot that they beat Tampa Bay, because why go with history? Why go against it? The last 4 times that the Cowboys and 49ers played, the winner in the postseason played in the postseason. The winner actually ended up winning the Super Bowl. And why go against that?
Hey, but I honestly, personally, I didn't see 49ers beating Dallas last week after the season Dallas had. I know it is the Cowboys. They do tend to choke in the playoffs, but I didn't see them beating the Cowboys. Obviously, that's not what happened. They destroyed. Yeah. Cowboys, they beat themselves. A lot of penalties. You can't ever win whenever you're beating yourself the whole game. But 49ers, they are a dark horse, like you said. Since 2012, they've seen each other 3 times. The Packers and the 49ers. 49ers have come on top 3 out of 3 of those games. So it's interesting. This will be an interesting game. I don't think it'll be a pushover. I don't think it'll be a dominant game as far as the Packers, but I think the 49ers will be there. Yeah, they will be there. Vegas, they know something. So I think it will be a close game, but I do see Packers win that game.
That was some weird shit there at the end with the Cowboys. I mean,
crazy.
They shouldn't even have had that. Now, they shouldn't have had that. Now, I picked them going into last week. I'll stick to it. I picked them. I hate them, but I picked them. And they kept at it on time at the end of the game. I don't know if you noticed that. So they shouldn't even have had that opportunity.
Yep.
Jimmy G didn't throw that interception and let him back in. It's a route. But yeah, no, I mean, calling that quarterback draw, that's just dumb. But
Yeah, I
the
don't know what
fact
they
that
were
they even
thinking
got
there.
to that point to begin with
Yep.
is the bad thing. And that's why, I mean, it's like, all this talk about Mike McCarthy and his job. I mean, look, he won one Super Bowl. He won one Super Bowl. How long was he with Aaron Rodgers? 8 years. You're with Aaron Rodgers, an all-time great. You made one Super Bowl. Like you've won one, but you only made one. And that's kind of where, LaFleur, look at the success LaFleur is having. Mike McCarthy wasn't having that success because I question Mike McCarthy's leadership a little bit. Because
I don't think
year,
that Dallas Cowboys team, they buy into McCarthy that much.
No, they don't. And there was rumors last year that that they didn't want him. And I just look at their team and I think for how much talent they got, you should be beating the 49ers at home. And, I got to give tip my cap to Jerry and his son because they've been drafting well. They've been bringing in guys, their team is loaded with talent. Now, granted, they're not going to be able to keep Schultz, Gallup, those guys are going to be walking, but, their core is staying intact and they got the good O-line. But for them to lose that first game, that's rough. And,
yeah,
that also questions Dak. I mean, he's not out of the woods on this one. Dak did not perform. Dak did not show up. I mean, what can you say? I mean, he did not look good.
Yeah, he didn't live up to that contract that first week of the playoffs, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like, tell me I'm wrong here, but I feel like with Dak, he got that contract because I think a little bit of, feeling sorry for him a little bit.
Of course, that injury last year for sure.
Yeah, and, it was absolutely brutal. And, I've always liked Dak Prescott, but the thing is, you need that run game. You need that run game with Dak and Zeke. I like Zeke. I like what he's done his career. But he's starting to
personally, I feel like Tony Pollard was their main running back this year.
Yeah,
I feel like he got it done more than Zeke.
I agree. I think Tony Pollard's a stud. And, it just goes to show. I mean, running backs, they don't got much, they don't got that longevity anymore.
Yeah, of course.
And I look at it and I think Dak Prescott, you need to step up because you got this big deal. And, you look at a guy like Kyler Murray as well. People will say, come at me watching the video, oh, why didn't you say about Jalen Hurts, this and that? But it's like,
we kind of expect that from Jalen Hurts. We don't expect that from Kyler Murray.
We're paying, he's a second round pick. We're paying him like what, $600,000 to play football. You're paying Dak Prescott 26 million. Wait, no, sorry, $40 million.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
I was a little off, but no, $40 million. Kyler Murray, I mean, he's a first round pick. He's first overall pick. He's on his way to a $40 million contract. And, I just look at a team because that's where you really need to get it. You need to get the quarterback when the teams that usually win outside of like Tom Brady and such, they win when their quarterbacks are on those team friendly deals because then you're able look at Seattle. They haven't been the same since that Russ money went on the books because you're not able to keep the guys because you're paying all this money. And that's why I think Kansas City's going to start taking a step back and their talent probably isn't as good as it was last year and the year before because of that reason is that once you start paying the guy a lot of money, you're not able to keep the guys that you'd like to keep. And when you look at Dak Prescott, now his money's kicking in, $40 million. Well, I believe the contract it started this year. So you're paying him $40 million. You're not going to be able to pay other guys. So I think Dallas, to put it lightly, Dallas has a short window. I really do. I think they got a short window and they haven't been able to take advantage of it. I'm happy about it though. I can't complain. But any last thoughts for you? Any closing remarks?
I know we had talked about a sleeper to win the Super Bowl. Who's your sleeper?
Yeah, my sleeper is going to be the Niners. I think if they can beat Green Bay, in Green Bay, that's gonna, jolt them.
Yep, that's a whole lot of confidence there. My sleeper, Cincinnati Bengals.
See, I like Cincy. I like Cincy.
I love Cincy. I think they're developing a chemistry right now. A lot of people, whenever Jamar Chase got drafted, I don't know if you remember, everybody was saying they should have went with Penny Sewell at tackle. Everybody was, why did you draft the receiver? You should have went O-line.
Yeah, well,
which honestly they possibly could have, because Joe Burrow got sacked the third most in the NFL this season. But we can finish it. We can worry about that next year. Jamar Chase, I knew he was going to be a stud. Shout out to him for winning my fantasy football championship. Shout out to Jamar for that. I will be buying your jersey soon, by the way. But I do see them as a dark horse, as a sleeper. If they can push past this week and get into the AFC Championship, I mean, hey, doors are wide open for them.
Yeah, no. I like Cincinnati. I think it's another team that, that win was huge for them. That can jolt them. If they beat Tennessee, they're going to have all that confidence going into wherever they play. I mean, I guess we'll see.
Alan, time will tell.
I appreciate you coming on. We'll have to have you on again here. And go on Twitter. Alan, what's your handle?
I talk sports _247. I talk sports 24/7.
And I will get that in the YouTube description, and make sure to follow Alan. Appreciate you coming on, bro. And
always a pleasure, boss.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Make you guys some money.
Divisional round. Let's go.